that recording? Yep. Professional YouTuber vlog day, I don't know, because I don't get days off
69.
right now. 69? Yep. Probably. Day 69. I am back with research and more research and so much research. I put together an outline of what I wanted to do to respond to this documentary on Netflix. Again, thank you guys. You've been so involved in this whole process, and it's so cool. It's great getting your perspective. It's great having you guys to bounce these ideas off of, and it's great seeing you guys help the hashtag trend on Twitter. I think, honestly, by the time the video goes up on hopefully Monday, it will be trending on Twitter, and so that'll be really cool. The producers and director and everything of this film have definitely seen this hashtag. They have not responded as of yet. When I do the response video, I'm going to be very fair. I'm going to acknowledge where they were correct to be concerned, the valid points that they had, and then also take that opportunity to expand on those valid points and maybe explain stuff that they left out that is helpful for context. And then I'm going to challenge some of the statements that they made and the bias that was clear in the video. For one thing, they continually made ADHD meds out to be the same thing as meth or crack or speed, whatever, and kept talking about how dangerous they were, like these dangerous meds, and they made no attempt to differentiate either how dangerous meth is versus how dangerous ADHD medication is, and also no attempt to qualify the difference between somebody who takes their ADHD medication for ADHD and they take it appropriately versus somebody who abuses it. They just kind of painted everything with the same brush. And so what could have been a really wonderful documentary. I promised you guys one of these without my medication. This is me without my medication. But I'm less angry, a little less angry, a little more like in the research mode now. But I don't remember what I was saying. So yes, there is that. They painted everything with the same brush. What?
It could have been a really good documentary if they had.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. This is what I love you. Edward is so good. Edward. This is actually. Can I tell him this is one of your coping mechanisms?
Oh yeah.
This is one of Edward's coping mechanisms. I think, as somebody who was diagnosed later in life with ADHD, he learned really early on how to sound like he's been paying attention the entire time.
I was paying attention.
No, I know you were that time, but you have this uncanny ability of, even if you're half paying attention or not really paying attention, you can still play back everything the person said.
Oh, yeah.
It's really interesting. It's really...
Like, and when I say it back, I hear it for the first time.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive. I used to be like, wow, you're just such a great listener. No, he's gotten really good at pretending he's a really great listener. But he's also a good listener. Meds help.
What'd you say?
Meds help.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway, sorry, complete tangent. But yes, this is me off my meds. So painting everything with the same brush, like, it could have been a great documentary, and there's just way more nuance, way more complexity, way more different aspects to ADHD, to the treatment issues, the abuse issues. It's complicated, right? And they did not portray that complexity well at all. Somebody tweeted that, and I thought that was really well put. But yeah, just so you guys know, I'm going to read you something. This is probably going to end up in the documentary. Apparently I'm making a documentary now. In the response video that I do. This is from Dr. Joel T. Nigg's book, which is very recent, 2017 maybe. Getting Ahead of ADHD. What next generation science says about treatments that work and how you can make them work for your child. This is just if anybody's wondering how medication affects you. Long term, yes, medication has some effects. Generally, they're positive. They can impact brain chemistry a little bit. Where we go. All right, I'll just read you some stuff. It is clear that chronic stimulant use a year or more causes change in brain growth and development. However, some, perhaps most of these changes are positive. At the macro level of structural growth and functional wiring of brain connections, the most likely conclusion is that these effects are beneficial and tend toward normalization of brain growth, at least in children with ADHD. And I'll skip ahead. The balanced possibility may be that long-term effects are a blend of positive brain growth combined with some negatives in brain biochemistry. One of the things that they're thinking is maybe because the medication like gives you so much extra dopamine, it changes things a little bit in the form of increased availability of a chemical called the dopamine transporter. They need to do more research on this, but this is kind of speculation at this point. But the authors noted that this response could lead to the medication gradually wearing off or to rebound symptoms when medication is discontinued. So if you've ever noticed, like, if you stop taking your meds for a couple of weeks, like, you feel like even more unfocused than before you took them, might be because of this. But again, this is just speculation at this point. There's limited research on that. But the evidence that we do have right now, the absence of known negative effects on behavior or cognition with chronic use suggests that the overall balance of these competing effects is neutral or positive for development. Even the animal studies, which there were some concerns with, I guess the studies that they did on rats, but they were, their brains are A, different, and B, they were getting like much higher doses than we would give to kids. Even the animal studies have shown no long-term loss of cognitive or behavioral function. But it's important to recognize these are powerful medications, right? So it's understandable. I always tell parents, like, it's completely understandable that you're concerned and do your research and all of that. But putting all this together, in most instances, the risk from stimulant medications for ADHD remain reasonable in relation to their potentially profound benefits in helping children adjust and cope. Perhaps the best way to think about this is that you are choosing between two risk paths. One risk is failing to give sufficient treatment to your child with ADHD. With this choice, you risk damage to self-esteem, social development, and academic development. The other risk is giving a medication that could have unknown effects on brain development, right? We're still learning more with the research. Although there is no evidence that these effects harm cognitive or behavioral development or long-term outcome. Instead, they tend to help in these areas. Overall, in the case where stimulants are clinically beneficial, the nod will generally go toward the idea that treating is a better risk than not treating. And that's really one of the things that I'm going to focus on in the video, is that there's so much emphasis on the scary medications and the side effects and the risks and stuff like that. But it's really important to remember the risks of not treating ADHD, and not that medication is a cure-all, not that it works for everybody. Multimodal treatment is still what they recommend. It's still for the best long-term outcomes. The research strongly points to both medication and behavioral therapy for kids. Again, all of this, I'm specifically talking about kids. For this, but it's, I don't remember what I was saying. Again, off my meds. Anyway, what am I talking about?
You were talking about these are. It's understandable that parents would be concerned about this. They are strong meds, but at the same time, they do help kids, and there's a risk of there's a big risk of.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Like they always focus on the. Oh, wait, no, I went down like a whole other rabbit hole. Anyway, you guys can rewind. You can tell me what I was talking about. But yeah, the point is, like...
Hurry, the video's almost over!
The point is, as tempted as I am to, like, just jump on and do, like, a rant against this video, I don't want to dismiss the current concerns that they bring up that should be discussed, that should be talked about, that should open up a conversation, that should... prompt more research, because obviously we want to know as much as we can about how the medication exactly affects our brains. We want to know, I mean, just a lot of things, right? But what we do know is that ADHD medications are, what they're starting to understand is that they are at least somewhat neuroprotective, as opposed to methamphetamines, which are directly neurotoxic to the human brain. It's a completely different story, as similar as they are compound wise. Like it's just different. So I'm now I'm remembering that I have studies from like you guys as well in my inbox, so I'm gonna read those as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna be like super, like, I already did my outline. If you guys want to see it, it's pinned to the main Patreon chat, and Scott also pinned a post to it on the forums. So it'll be a little easier to follow than like all the craziness that's been happening in the main Patreon chat. So you guys can post stuff there. For now, I'm just delving deep into the research. Based on the outline that I've got, I'm just going to like study, like brush up on stuff that I haven't read in a while, and read a bunch of new stuff, and make sure that even though this is going to be just kind of a response video, I'm not going to be completely in depth. I just want to make sure that I get it right, because misinformation is worse than no information, right? So I just want to make sure I get it right. I'm rambling. I'm going to let you guys go. You have things to do. You're busy people. You might be drinking or hungover. Yeah, happy St. Patty's Day, by the way. All right, that's day 69. Bye, Brains.